What's going on, guys? Hopefully you're having an incredible Friday. We have some news that I want to bring to your attention just now. It is regarding stimulus checks. It is regarding the overall stimulus package. So let's get started. First off, moments ago, California certified its presidential election, appointing the 55 electoral votes to Joe Biden. So, unless there is some major change, major news that breaks over the next 10 days, we will see the Electoral College announce Joe Biden as the next president of the United States. That will come on December 14th. So, why is this important? Obviously, it's important because we need to know who the next president is going to be. But the real reason this is important and regarding stimulus is because Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are taking their advice, are getting their directions from Joe Biden. We have known this for weeks. We are now starting to see it actually unfold. Joe Biden even said today, when asked, how did you get Nancy Pelosi to come off that $2.4 trillion package? He specifically said, I'm not going to tell you because then it wouldn't work again. So, I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what he said. So, right now, what Joe Biden wants, Nancy Pelosi is going to try and get through stimulus. So, you remember earlier today, if you didn't get a chance to watch those videos, I linked to them down in the description box below. Go and watch them. But earlier today, I said we need to listen to Nancy Pelosi, we need to listen to Chuck Schumer, we need to listen to Mitch McConnell, and listen to President Trump. That we do not need to listen to Joe Biden because as of right now, it doesn't really matter what he says. But now that California just certified their results, and everything is pointing to Joe Biden winning for sure, again, unless any breaking news happens, then now we can start listening to more of what Joe Biden says. Because now there's a high possibility, it's a 99.9% chance Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. So we need to listen to what Joe Biden says now. Also, it makes the stimulus talks, as of right now, a little bit easier to navigate when you know who's going to be president. If you know who's going to be controlling the Senate. Right now, we don't know that. So right now, all eyes are on this stimulus deal. But at the same time, the people creating this deal, putting this package together, their eyes are on the deal, but their eyes are also looking over to see what's going on in Georgia. Is are Democrats going to control the Senate? Will Republicans remain in control? What is going to happen? And again, this is going to be big. January 5th, 2021 is going to be a huge day. Now, you saw the title, you know what it's about, okay? So, let's get into that. Earlier today, we heard from Joe Biden and what is happening with stimulus. We heard him talk directly, specifically about stimulus. He even asked answered a question regarding stimulus checks. First, Joe Biden backs the $908 billion stimulus package. He said it's not everything, but it's a great start. He's also said this is a down payment on what is to come next year. And if you think about down payments kind of mean you're going to put down about 20% when you talk about real estate, when you talk about cars, automobiles, things like that. It's a little bit lower, but let's just say this is going to be a quarter, 25% of what we see. That means in 2021, he is going to look into possibly getting $2, $3, maybe even $4 trillion in additional stimulus. And right now, economists are saying we need at least $2 trillion. At least 2. And right now, Congress is going after less than 1. So we know there's going to be more stimulus needed in the very near future. Joe Biden not only backs this stimulus package, but he was the one that got Nancy Pelosi to move off of that $2.4 trillion package. And he did this because he knew that $2.4 trillion stimulus package, although it was great in his eyes, he knew that it was not achievable. That with a divided Congress, the House of Representatives, the majority is Democrat. The Senate majority is Republican. With a divided Congress and a Republican president, he knew $2.4 trillion was never going to pass. So, being that Joe Biden understands that in order to get anything done in the Senate, you have to have 60 votes. He knew $2.4 trillion was never going to happen. So, his goal was to accept something that could actually happen now. The American people need relief. They need it now. States need more funding to distribute the vaccine that hopefully is coming out very soon. And he knew all this stuff is going to happen. And so he's the one that told Nancy Pelosi, you have to accept it. You have to accept that we can only get what we can get. And right now, it's not $2.4 trillion. So, what Joe Biden knows right now is that it will truly take a bipartisan bill in order to get passed. This is why he's not pushing Nancy Pelosi to demand higher state and local government funding. Is she going to request it? Based on reports, Nancy Pelosi is requesting more state and local government funding. But at the same time, when you ask for additional state and local government funding, you're probably going to have to give in a few of the other pieces that you were trying to ask for. For example, you want $600 in unemployment benefits per week, and you want more state and local government funding? Well, how about we give you more unemployment, but we take away from state and local government? Right now, what's being reported is state and local government funding is more important. It's more dire now than it was last week, simply because the vaccine is looking more and more likely to come out very soon. So, state and local government funding actually takes precedence over unemployment at this point. And in addition to that, with state and local governments threatening to lay off thousands of workers, it makes it more important now than ever to provide state and local governments with some funding. Now, I am one that I don't think the poorly run states should receive billions and billions of dollars. But at the same time, I don't think their residents, I don't think the workers of that state should be hurt, should be negatively affected because of the state. The government needs to step in and make sure that these states are run correctly. Now, not like the government's run correctly and they understand and they should be the one telling you to do everything the way they do it. Because obviously we know that doesn't work, but there has to be some checks and balances here. So we'll see what goes on with that. But in regard to $600 per week in unemployment, right now, Nancy Pelosi is going to ask and request it. And it's being reported that she's already countered the $908 billion proposal. But if Republicans, specifically Mitch McConnell, say, we can't do that, then she's probably just going to back off, maybe accept some type of middle ground offer, or maybe just accept $300 per week. And as far as stimulus checks, we know stimulus checks are considered to still be on the table. Joe Biden said today that stimulus checks may still be in play. However, he did go on to say, I think it would be better if they had the $1,200 payments in this bill. But he knows that is a sticking point because roughly $275 billion added on top of $908 billion is going to push it up to 1.2, and at $1.2 trillion, many Republicans are going to, they're going to oppose this bill. They're not going to back it anymore. So Joe Biden did go on to say, and I quote, "And I understand that may still be in play, but I'm not going to comment on the specific details. The whole purpose of this is we've got to make sure people aren't thrown out of their apartments, lose their homes, are able to have unemployment insurance that they can continue to feed their families with as we grow back the economy." So right now, he understands what's in play. Stimulus checks are still in play. It's still possible. But at the same time, it's going to require more Republicans to publicly step up and state publicly that, yes, we do support stimulus checks. We think they should be in this proposal. That we think they need to be added in this bill. And we need to get this passed before the end of the year. If that happens, Mitch McConnell would most likely accept it because he stated that as long as the GOP backs whatever bill is there, whatever pieces of legislation are on the table, he would back it as well and he would put it to a vote. So the good news right now is everybody's on board with the $908 billion stimulus package at this time. But again, things could change. Yes, even Mitch McConnell is not opposed to the $908 billion stimulus proposal. He just prefers his package over this one. And of course, you knew that's what's going to happen. Nancy Pelosi, she prefers her HEROES Act over this $908 billion proposal as well. Mitch McConnell would say his HEALS Act is better than this one. He'd say his skinny bills are better than this one. When in reality, this is a fairly good bill. But also in reality, the Problem Solvers Caucus proposal at roughly $1.5 trillion, was better than this one. So it's kind of up for debate which is the best package, but this is what's on the table. This is what we know currently has the best chance of passing. So reports indicate that Mitch McConnell will accept a $908 billion package if that is what his caucus is willing to accept as well. He just wants the GOP to stay united in this fight. That's the goal. Can remain united. Let's stick together. Let's get through this as one. That is his goal. Regarding stimulus checks, retroactive unemployment, and Social Security, let's talk about those three things. First, Social Security benefits and possibly the $200 per month bonus on top of your Social Security benefit. That is in the increase for 2021, that is going to be on Joe Biden. That is what the Biden administration wants to take on. Right now, it's not even being entertained and being looked at by the Trump administration. So that's something that Joe Biden will have to take on, which means we have to wait until January 20th and see what happens then. Right now, we know Congress, they would consider passing additional benefits for Social Security, but at the same time, that's not the most important thing to them at this point. I get it. It's frustrating. You don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. Right now, we just have to wait until January to see what Joe Biden has in state. Right now, he says there's a lot of things he's working on, a lot of things he's going to do as soon as he gets in office, so we just have to see. One thing I can tell you is to get additional $200 per month in Social Security benefits will require Congress to pass this in order to have it done. It will not be an executive order. So let's move on to stimulus checks again. Most people anticipate Nancy Pelosi is going to request stimulus checks in the $908 billion counteroffer, but the most recent report out today states that this is a long shot to get passed. She may request it. Mitch McConnell may entertain the idea, but he would simply put out a feeler, within his caucus to see, do you guys support this? He's going to send out, an email or a letter to the 53 Republicans and say, do you support this? Yes or no? And then he'd get an idea and be able to tell Nancy Pelosi, I just don't have the support. It would never get backed. It wouldn't pass. So no. If this is the case, Nancy Pelosi will most likely hold off on stimulus checks. She probably will not put up much of a fight, according to what people are saying Joe Biden is telling her. Do not put up much of a fight, and we will see what happens after the January 5th Georgia Senate runoff, and we can go from there. What we do know is that some Republicans support stimulus checks. But if right now Mitch McConnell is telling Republicans, let's stay unified, let's stay united, let's fight as one, let's fight as one in this one, then most likely nobody's going to come out and publicly state they want stimulus checks. So right now, we just have to wait until January based on what we know today. Again, things could change tomorrow. And based on what's been happening, things are changing every single day, sometimes multiple times per day, based on what people are saying, based on new reports, and based on the bills that we see actually come from Congress. As far as retroactive unemployment is concerned, right now, one report is stating that this afternoon is that currently Republicans are not opposed to retroactive unemployment pay back to November 1st. However, they would only support 4 months of unemployment benefits. Whether 1 month or 2 months is retroactive doesn't really matter, but they would only support 4 months. Here's the problem though. Just want to put this out there because this is what the report is saying. If Republicans agree to 4 months of unemployment benefits, that's $300 per week, what you need to keep in mind, keep in consideration, is come February, the end of February, because it would be November, December, January, February, 4 months. The end of February, so March, if your unemployment benefits run out and Joe Biden's like, hey, we need to get back to the table, we need to provide more unemployment benefits, what could happen at this point is Republicans could say, no, we're not going to do anything, we're going to wait and see, because we said we will only do retroactive until December 1st. And you decided, let's go back to November 1st. So, because of that additional month of retroactive unemployment benefits, you may lose out on March, the benefits in March, which means you wouldn't see anything, you wouldn't even hear Republicans consider an additional $300 per week as unemployment if, you wouldn't even hear this. If that happened, what you would hear is, let's wait and see. Let's see what happens in May. Come May, we'll come back to the table and we'll reevaluate, see where we're at. That's what's going to happen based on this report. And honestly, I can see Mitch McConnell doing that. And again, all this comes down to the Georgia Senate runoff in January. So we really need to focus in on that because that is so important. It's a little bit over 1 month away. Also, even some Republicans oppose the 4 months of $300 per week in an unemployment plus up or boost. So it's not a guaranteed thing. It's going to be in here, but it's possible. Some are not opposed to some unemployment benefits, like 1, 2, maybe 3 months. But when you consider 4 months and going back to December 1st, possibly even November 1st, that's where things get a little sketchy. And that's where some Republicans kind of fall off. So we'll see. The good news is that more people are on board with unemployment benefits at this time. With unemployment today, or for the month of November, the report came out today, dropping from 6.9% down to 6.2%, there's still a need for unemployment, and we know this. So just know that things could change quickly regarding all of this. Stimulus checks, unemployment benefits, state and local government funding, education assistance, food assistance, rental assistance. Everything could completely change in the matter of seconds, depending on how Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, and President Trump feel. All President Trump has to do is say, I'm not going to sign that. And all stimulus negotiations would then be off. So that's what we know right now. As I know more, I promise I'll share more. So consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. And I'll see you guys on the next one.